Swamp Thing number 20, written by Charles Soule, art by Kano. So last issue, Swamp Thing went to Metropolis to talk to Superman. He ran into Scarecrow. Scarecrow fear-gassed him. And then all of the Greens started attacking Metropolis. So we pick up in the dream that Swamp Thing is having. And we see Alec Holland and Abigail Arcane are married. They've grown old. They have some kids. And one of the kids is going out and just frolicking in the garden. And as she's out there, Swamp Thing comes up, touches her hand, and then she is immediately consumed by the green and turned into like a plant creature. Alec sees this through the window, comes out, and basically snatches the kid away and says, I warned her to watch out for monsters. I warned her to watch out for things like you. And then we cut back into Metropolis, where basically emergency services are completely overcalled to the entirety of the city being attacked by these plants. They see a couple of people trapped down an alley where a bunch of Venus flytraps are coming up and seemingly about to go and eat them. And they're like, okay, we only got one option here, and that's to attack it with an axe. So let's get in there and start swinging. They're like, what if it's not able to be hurt? What if it attacks us? Like, we might not be able to make it through this. And they're like, it's our job. We got to get in there and do it. So they count up to 3, but before they can get to 3, Superman comes in. He super freezes it and allows them to get the citizens out of there. But not before the fire chief steps in, and he's like, hey, Superman, is this one of your things? Did you cause this? Or is it like one of your supervillains doing this? And Superman's like, no, I don't think it's one of mine. He's like, well, you know what? This didn't used to happen. It used to be okay to live in this city without crazy crap like this happening all the time. So yeah, we'll just keep working. Thanks for whatever it is you're doing. And Superman's like, okay, I don't blame him. He's pissed off. That's fair. But I'm reasonably sure this is Swamp Thing, and I just got to track him down. So then back into the dream, we see Alec is walking around Swamp Thing through like his lab and stuff. And he's like, yeah, no, I got a Nobel Prize for my stuff. And here's some extra stuff I did here. And yeah, my life really turned out great. No, by the way, I have kids with Abby. You want to go see them? And he leads her over to the kids. And he's just like, yeah, no, I have all this. And you could have had all this, but you threw it away. You threw it away to become the Swamp Thing. And you chose plants, and all that's going to remain after everything is said and done is plants. Because remember, that's all there is now. You're not Alec Holland under there. You're not human anymore. You're the Swamp Thing. You are nothing but a plant monster. And when you die, all you will have is the plants, which will eventually corrode and become part of the green once again. Like, you will not be anything. So the plants are getting more and more restless. They're attacking this bridge coming out of Metropolis. Superman's holding it up, letting the civilians get off. But then he hears screaming from the other side of the city, and one of the buses is being crushed by this vine. And there's no way that he can get over to it while keeping the bridge up. So he uses his heat vision off of the Daily Planet's globe to reflect down onto the bus and attack the plant enough for the people to get out. And he's like, all right, cool. Managed to save everybody. Everyone's off the bridge. I gotta go figure out where Swamp Thing is. I gotta cut this off at the head. And he flies up high. He sees that it's all kind of coming from the botanical gardens. He's like, yeah, okay, I probably should have thought of that place first. And he flies down there and he sees Swamp Thing asleep, but clearly like screaming out in pain. And Scarecrow's there and he's like, Superman, hey, yeah, this is my fault. I will own up to that, but I had no idea that this was going to happen. I thought he was just like some crazy plant dude. So he asks Scarecrow if there's any way to wake him up. He says, no, I doused him with like a bunch of stuff. I don't know what it did. And basically Superman looks at Swamp Thing just crying out in this nightmare, and he revs up his heat vision and says like, sorry, I've got no choice. I got to do this. So in the dream, the skeleton of Alec Holland's like, yeah, no, the Green told you that you were special and you were different and you were like all this special stuff. But like, the Green hasn't changed. The Parliament of Trees hasn't changed. They want you to be the same as Anton Arcane was. They want you to make it so that they are the only thing around. They want a world full of green. And that's what you're going to do. Everything else can just burn. And then all of a sudden, everything catches on fire. And we see Swamp Thing finally snapping out of it as he's being burned alive by Superman. Superman hears him scream. He uses super breath to put him out. Swamp Thing's now a lot of smolders and solars and whatnot, but he's very quickly getting back on his feet. And he's like, hey, Superman, how did you know that the flames would leach out the Scarecrow toxin? And Superman's like, I didn't. Was just kind of hoping for the best there. So Superman tells him, hey, you weren't aware of it, but you're causing like mass chaos in my city. Could you maybe tone that back? And he's like, oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, totally. Pulls back all the vines. And he's like, hey, I'd love to help out and make things right if that's okay with you. And Superman's like, you've done plenty. I'm going to take care of this from now on. And Swamp Thing's like, yeah, that makes sense. Actually, I was hoping that maybe you could help me with something. Can we just talk for a second? And Superman's like, I really got to get back out there and help clean up the damage. And at that point, Scarecrow's trying to sneak away, and Swamp Thing just grabs him with a bunch of vine and keeps talking to Superman. And Superman's like, look, I know this wasn't your fault. I get it. But with people like us who have this immense power, we have to be in control of it all the time. And if there's any chance that we lose control, we just got to go away. We can't be around other people. That's our burden, but it's what needs to happen. And Swamp Thing's like, yeah, no, I'll leave. I get it. But let me ask you a question first. You aren't a human, and yet you connect with them. You walk among them. You choose to act like a human. How do you do that? And he's like, yeah, no, I feel disconnected all the time. It happens whenever you're flying above people. But what you need to do is choose to connect, find people to help, go out there and be a part of it. And that's going to make you as human as you want to be. And so Swamp Thing sees Superman fly away with Scarecrow. He dissolves back into the green. He shows back up in Louisiana. And when he comes back out, there's a woman there waiting. And she's like, Avatar, I thought you'd never return. I need you to save me, as she kneels down before him. So a little 2-issue arc just to set up how much of a human is Swamp Thing going to be, really? Seems to be an interesting story. I love Superman's take on it. Fantastic view of like, no, you got to work at it, and it's really hard, but it's something that needs to be done. So I'm liking the way Charles Soule's taken this to begin with. I got to say, whether or not this new person stepping up, being like, oh, help me, Avatar, it can go either way. It's just 2 panels. I'm not going to judge it based off that. I'm looking forward to it at the very least, but I think this has been a super solid 2-issue arc, especially because Superman feels like Superman in it. He steps in and he's like, look, I'm going to do what I have to do here, but I'm hoping that it's not going to end up with any like unnecessary deaths. So overall, I'm going to give this one, I'm probably going to give it an 8.5, honestly. I really think this is a solid issue. I can't think of much to fault it with. Even the Scarecrow bit where he was just like trying to slink away after everything was said and done. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything about it. So yeah, 8.5 for this. Really do like it.